Welcome to another Gleamiarts Tries. It's where I try something arts and crafty. This one is bookbinding and I made a sketchbook. I followed some really good sea lemon tutorials to make this. I'll link them in the description and the iCard. I really love this paper but dislike ring-bound sketchbooks. So I had the idea to make it into a casebound one. Again, this is the fourth sketchbook I've made in general, and the second one with this paper. The tool for that sketchbook is in the iCard, and so is the review. I used an A3 size Canson wallpaper, and I unbound the spiral binding.
No! Oh! Bruh, I hate it here. Oh. We getting somewhere. Nope. Oh. Oh. Nope. Okay. I hate it. Uh-oh. Oh.
I took out the paper I needed and left the rest in there for later. I cut off the holes for the cover. To be honest, I didn't really need to cut the holes off, but I did that anyway. I later on reused the cover, but I cover fabric in it. So all materials I used were the ones I already had on me, and I didn't want to buy a lot of things just to make one sketchbook anyway. So looking for things around the house, it's like a really fun scavenger hunt. So I used a big needle to do the stitching, and I did not have a good time filming the stitching process because my paper kept whacking the camera and it was just not fun. I just stopped recording it. I used regular thread. I know a lot of tutorials say to use wax thread, but I didn't have any on me and I didn't want to buy wax thread. So like I said, I just wanted to use stuff around the house. So I just used that. And I also used this weird awl-like tool that came with my clay stuff. And it worked fine for like poking holes in the fabric, the paper. So my dad made me a book clamp, which was a lifesaver because how I used to, quote unquote, clamp paper down, which was basically me stacking lots of heavy things on top of the text block, and it was a mess. One time I spilt Mod Podge everywhere, and it went all over my bed, on my floor, and on my unicorn onesie, which I was the most annoyed about. I love that onesie. I did manage to clean it up, but I lost a good third of my Mod Podge. There's still some left which I'm glad about, but I learned some stuff that day. So as for the fabric, I skinned my old Parker jacket, and I'd already used the coat to make 3 sketchbooks worth, and by this one I was definitely running out of uncut fabric, so I had to stitch 2 separate pieces together on my sewing machine. I love upcycling especially because you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, saving money and reducing waste. It's also fun trying to figure out ways to reuse and repurpose things that would normally be thrown away. I couldn't give my old Parker jacket to charity because it had some rips on it. I didn't want to throw it away because that's a lot of fabric going to the landfill.
She too gummy. She too damn gummy.
The one thing I noticed after I made the whole sketchbook thing was that my stitching was not tight enough. Some of the pages do slide around a lot. This is the biggest sketchbook I made, so that may be the reason why. Like I said earlier, I did get kind of frustrated when filming the stitching, so I guess that maybe added to the frustration and the impatience. And I definitely should have made my stitching tight, and I didn't. But because of that, some of the pages are quite loose. So if I were to make this again, I definitely make sure every single ligature is tight, very, very tight. Like, filming was such a pain in the bum, and then after all that, a lot of the footage was unusable. So I suffered for nothing. Notice how much I suffer for my craft. So the most fun I had was painting the little stars on the sketchbook. I really feel like that made the sketchbook look more finished and personal to me. It also looked more handmade and not like a manufactured sketchbook. That's definitely a pro of making your own sketchbooks. You get to like experiment with different types of stitching, and if you wanted to like print stuff on the pages before you stitch them together, you can. I want to do that maybe for my next sketchbook. Maybe like print like a swatch chart with all like with every single one of my pens and my markers just like numbered, so I don't have to handwrite all the numbers. I just like print off the grid. So I think that'll be cool. I definitely want to improve on making my stitches neater and tighter. They're really sloppy from this sketchbook, which was a shame because I feel like that was the reason why the pages were so loose, as well as me not gluing it properly. Weird was my first ever sketchbook I made was so neat. I think the reason why this sketchbook wasn't as neat, 1, I was impatient. 2, maybe I was a little cocky. I was like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to look at these tutorials. I might have like glanced at it once and then moved on. Whilst the first time I made my sketchbook, I was watching the tutorials intently. Made sure I had enough thread, just doing everything by the book. This time I was like, nope, do it my way. I know what I'm doing. When I clearly did not. And I did not add enough glue. That's a warning for you if you want to make a sketchbook. Add enough glue. Who knows, maybe one day I could even sell these sketchbooks if I like. So overall, this sketchbook took me 5 hours to make. I took a lot of breaks in between a lot of steps, especially when waiting for the glue to dry between layers. I'll definitely make more sketchbooks, and maybe I'll switch up the paper types I put in. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. If you have any other things you want me to try, feel free to comment below. Bye!